welcome to day 7 of our Psalm series. I'm so excited to study the Word with you today. We will be in Psalm 7 using the New King James Version, and there are a couple verses that stood out to me there. So I'll start at 8 and then read to the beginning of 11. So it says, "The Lord shall judge the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to my integrity within me. O let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just. For the righteous God tests the hearts and minds. My defense is of God, who saves the upright in heart. God is a just judge." And this theme of, God judging and being a just judge really stood out to me. I'm currently in law school, so I'm learning a lot about the American legal system and just, the power that judges have within our legal system with us having a common law system. And so this idea of God being a just judge, I really wanted to think about more about what that meant. And when I think about just as it's defined here, I think of fair and unbiased. And with our theme this month of just thankfulness and gratitude, I think of how blessed I am and we are to not only have a fair and unbiased judge, but also a judge who wants to give us those same qualities. And so as I thought about, what story in the Bible could I look at to really see how those qualities are illustrated, it brought me to 1 Kings 3:16-28, Solomon. So I'm going to go there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but with that story, you had the 2 women and then babies, and there were newborns, and they were in the same house. There were 2 sons, and one of the sons died at night, and so one of the mothers had laid on one of her sons, and the son died, and then one of the mothers claimed that the other mother stole her son. So they both came to Solomon, who was the king, to settle out, who should get the child. And he got a sword to cut the child in half, and then the actual mother had compassion, and then she just offered to give the child away. So with that, Solomon then knew who the actual mother was, as the other woman was willing to let the child die. And that's in 1 Kings 3:16-28. And then I'll just read the last verse of that. It says, "And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had rendered, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to administer justice." And, I know we might not all be kings or, have the authority that Solomon had, but I do think that we, have the power in our daily lives to do justly and to be just and really to do what is right, wise, and fair. And so I think a promise that I claim and I pray that, we all could claim is that, in our spheres of influence and just the abilities that we have, whether with words or gestures or acts, to encourage and build people up and to give hope, that we can be wise and prudent, and just ask God for knowledge, discretion, and understanding. And I'll close with 2 promises that are special to me. I think the first one is James 1 verse 5. And it says, I'm not going to read the verse, but just a promise we can claim from that is that when we ask God for wisdom, we can believe in faith with absolutely no doubt that he gives it to us liberally and without reproach. And then one of my all-time favorite verses, just Micah 6:8, claiming that we know God is faithful, and when we ask, he will give us the power to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with him. So I pray that God is with you today, and thank you for listening.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope what you heard and what you saw was a blessing to you. For our challenge, I encourage you to think of 5 things that you're grateful for. I encourage you, if you can, throughout this time to keep a thankful journal, writing each day the 5 things that you're thankful and grateful for. After you've written them down, whether in a journal, on your phone, maybe in a piece of paper somewhere, on a notebook, I encourage you to share those 5 things with someone, whether it be your spouse, your family, your kids, your neighbor, your coworker, on your social media posts, and say, hey, these are the 5 things I'm grateful for today. And after you do that, I want you to pray about those 5 things, and throughout the day, thank God for those 5 things. At the same time, we're also doing a challenge of being complaint-free for the next 30 days. If you have a wristband as the ones that we've provided for complaint-free, or maybe just a watch that you wear, and if at any point throughout the day you think of a negative thought or you have a complaint and are ungrateful, what you need to do is switch that band or that watch from one hand to the other. So let's say I have a negative thought. I'm switching the band on my right hand to my left hand. And so now every time I look down and I feel something's missing, I realize that, hey, it's on my other hand because I had a negative thought. Hopefully together, in these 30 days, we can learn to train our minds to not think negatively and to be grateful for all that God has done together.